Travel used to be simple. You'd show up at the airport, buy a ticket, and hope your suitcase weighed less than your life decisions. Now, there's an app for everything. Flights, beds, cash, Wi-Fi, translators, VPNs. The good news, the world's never been easier to explore. The bad news, it's buried under about 3,000 top 10 travel apps lists written by people who haven't left their couch since 2016. So today, I'm cutting through all that noise. These are the tools, hacks, and secrets I actually use to plan, fly, sleep, eat, and stay sane while filming around the world. No sponsorships, no fluff, just the stuff that works. Whether you're backpacking across Europe, flying business class to Tokyo, or road tripping through South America. Because the difference between a good trip and a great one usually comes down to a few smart systems. And once you know them, travel stops being stressful and starts feeling like freedom. This is the Travel Toolkit: apps, hacks, and secrets for exploring the world. Let's start with that thing that usually decides where you go: flights. Because for most of us, the question isn't where do you want to go, it's where can you afford to go this month? And that's where the right tools completely change the game. If you're flexible, Going.com, formerly Scott's Cheap Flights, and Dollar Flight Club are fantastic for catching mistake fares and flash deals. You just plug in your home airport and they email you when crazy cheap flights pop up. The only catch? You need to be spontaneous. They'll find you $390 flights to Portugal even if you were planning on Bali. So they're perfect if you're the deal chases the destination kind of traveler. I'm not that guy. I like to know where I'm going. That's why my secret weapon, the one I use every single time, is matrix.itasoftware.com. It's what travel agents use behind the scenes. It's not pretty, but it's insanely powerful. You can search multiple departure airports, multiple destinations, flexible dates, specific flight lengths, even filtered by airline or aircraft type. It's like the Google Sheets version of travel search. Nerdy, but once you learn it, you'll never go back. I use Matrix to find which airline has the best fare, then I go directly to that airline's site to book. That way I can pick my seat, earn miles, and keep my loyalty status, all without dealing with third-party glitches. If you want something easier, Google Flights, Momondo, and Skyscanner are all fantastic. They make flexible searching simple, and they'll show you fare trends so you know when to buy. Hopper adds a layer of AI. It actually tells you whether to book now or wait because prices might drop. And when you want to hunt for those legendary hidden city tickets, Skip Lagged is the one that airlines hate. It shows routes that are cheaper if you get off mid-journey. Just don't check a bag because it'll end up wherever the plane does. You'll be in Munich, your bag will be in Oslo. If you're using points, Seats.aero is a game changer. It scans multiple airline programs and shows you where you can fly for the fewest miles, saving you hours of guesswork. And finally, if you ever book impulsively at 2 a.m., like I definitely haven't done, know that Expedia is one of the few sites that gives you a 24-hour free cancellation window. So you can lock in the deal and decide in the morning whether you actually want to go to Morocco next Thursday. So my travel workflow looks like this: Matrix for deep search, Google Flights for quick checks, Seats.aero for miles, and Expedia as my safety net. It sounds like a lot, but once you learn how to use them together, you'll book smarter, faster, and cheaper than 99% of travelers. Because the secret to affordable travel isn't luck, it's knowing which tools to trust. Finding a place to stay used to mean picking between cheap or clean. Now you can find a castle in Spain, a treehouse in Bali, or a studio with Wi-Fi that actually works, all from your phone. For most travelers, Airbnb and Booking.com are still the heavy hitters. Airbnb's great if you want space, kitchens, or local vibes. Booking.com's better for last-minute deals, especially if you're just looking for a solid bed after a long travel day. But if you're staying longer than a couple of weeks, try Flatio or Spotahome. They focus on monthly furnished rentals, perfect for remote workers or slow travelers who want to unpack their suitcase and stay a while. If you prefer built-in community, check out Selena or Outsite. They blend co-working spaces, social events, and accommodations in one spot. So you can work by day, explore by night, and actually meet other travelers who understand why you're editing videos at midnight. On the budget or adventurous side, Hostel World is still fantastic for meeting people and finding clean social hostels that don't feel like dorm nightmares from the early 2000s. And if you want to travel almost for free, Trusted House Sitters is one of the most creative hacks out there. You watch someone's pets, they give you their house, it's a win-win. They travel, you save hundreds on accommodation, and the dog gets company. Personally, I mix it up a bit. A week of Airbnb for filming, a month in a Flatio apartment to catch up on other work, and the occasional Selena when I want co-working energy. Because the truth is, wherever you stay shapes how you experience a place. So pick places that fit your pace, and maybe double check the Wi-Fi speed before you hit book. Let's be honest, in 2025, if you lose Wi-Fi, you basically stop existing. No Google Maps, no WhatsApp, no translations, no food delivery, no proof of life on Instagram. So let's fix that. If you're from the US, T-Mobile is hands down one of the best carriers for international travelers. Their Magenta and Go 5G plans include free texting and roaming data in over 200 countries. It's not blazing fast, but it's perfect for messaging, directions, and booking that emergency ride to the airport when your Uber app switches to Spanish. If your plan doesn't cover travel, get an eSIM. Apps like Airlo, Olafly, and Nomad eSIM let you buy local data plans right from your phone. No plastic SIMs, no airport kiosks, no frustration. You just download it, pick your country, and boom, you're online before your luggage even shows up. For communication, WhatsApp is the global language. If you're traveling anywhere outside North America, assume everyone from your Airbnb host to your taxi driver uses it. Telegram and Signal are great alternatives too, especially if you want more privacy or cross-device syncing. And here's a pro move. Download offline maps before you travel. Google Maps, Maps.me, and Citymapper all let you do it. That way, even if your signal drops in some remote town or your data plan runs out, you can still find your hotel or at least a coffee shop with Wi-Fi. So my setup's simple. T-Mobile as my main line, Net2Phone for my business lines, and local eSIM for backup data, and WhatsApp for everything else. That combo's kept me connected through mountains, islands, and the occasional sketchy bus ride with zero signal. Because being disconnected might sound peaceful until you're lost, hungry, and your Google Translate stopped working halfway through Pollo. Money, the not so fun part of travel, until you realize how much you can save by using the right tools. Let's start with cards and cash. If you're an American, Charles Schwab and Fidelity are absolute travel legends. Both refund all ATM fees worldwide. Yes, even those mysterious international transaction charges, and neither adds foreign transaction fees. You take money out anywhere and they quietly send it back. It's the kind of banking peace of mind that makes you feel like you actually beat the system for once. If you're traveling full-time or hopping between currencies, Wise and Revolut are essential. Wise gives you a multi-currency account that lets you hold, send, and spend in over 50 currencies at real exchange rates, not the inflated tourist ones. And Revolut takes it further. Banking, budgeting, crypto, and a slick debit card that works almost everywhere. If you're not using one of these yet, just check how much your bank has quietly taken in foreign fees over the last year. Then pour one out for your lost savings. For managing group trips, Splitwise is a lifesaver. You can track who paid for what without doing math on napkins. And XE Currency or Currency Converter Plus are perfect for checking real-time exchange rates before you agree to pay 60 euros for that artisan sandwich. If you like to track spending, Trail Wallet is a great travel budgeting app. Simple, visual, and keeps you honest about how many just one more cappuccinos you've had this week. My setup, Schwab and Fidelity for withdrawals, Wise and Revolut for transfers and payments, and I use Google for current currency conversions. Because when you're traveling, every little fee adds up, and I'd rather spend that money on wine and Wi-Fi than wire transfers. Let's talk about something most travelers ignore until it's too late: digital safety. Because as much as I love a good cafe with fast Wi-Fi, so do hackers. Every time you log on to an open network, you're basically shouting your passwords into the void and hoping no one's listening. So here's how to protect yourself and your stuff while traveling. Step 1, use a VPN. A virtual private network encrypts everything you do online: your banking, your messages, even your hotel bookings. My favorites are NordVPN and Surfshark. They're fast, easy to use, and work on all your devices. You open the app, tap once, and suddenly your data's locked up tighter than the minibar. Step 2, use a password manager. If you're still using the same password for Netflix and your bank account, you're living dangerously. 1Password and Dashlane both generate unique, super strong passwords and store them securely. You just remember one password. I personally use 1Password, which, fun fact, has Ryan Reynolds as one of its owners, because apparently the man collects successful companies the way most people collect stamps. Step 3, back up your data. Whether it's photos, travel documents, or video footage, you need an off-site backup. Google Drive, Dropbox, pCloud, and Sync.com for cloud storage. All are encrypted, fast, and accessible from anywhere. If you want maximum security, Tresorit is like the Fort Knox for files. And finally, protect your physical stuff too. Drop an AirTag or a tile in your luggage and backpack. If your bag takes a detour to Frankfurt while you're in Florence, you'll know before the airline does. And here's one extra layer of peace of mind. I travel with a Blink wireless camera. It's tiny, battery powered, and connects to Wi-Fi. When I'm out exploring, I point it toward the door and my luggage. If there's any movement, it sends an instant notification to my phone, and I can open up the app to see or even talk to whoever's in the room. It's overkill for some people, but for me, it's one of those once you've used it, you never travel without it kind of tools. So your travel safety stack looks like this: VPN plus password manager plus cloud backup plus tracker plus camera. Set it up once and forget it, because peace of mind is the best souvenir you can bring home. Well, that and a bottle of duty-free whiskey. Packing is one of those things you never truly master. You just get less bad at it over time. When I first started traveling full-time, my backpack looked like I was moving out forever. Now I can pack for a month in about 15 minutes, and it's mostly thanks to a few tools that make life easier. First, download PackPoint. It builds packing lists automatically based on your destination, weather, and trip length. You tell it where you're going and what you'll be doing, hiking, working, swimming, and it gives you a checklist so you don't forget socks or a charger. It's like having an obsessive-compulsive travel assistant in your pocket. Second, compression cubes. I swear by Tripped Travel Gear and Peak Design cubes. They don't just organize your clothes, they literally shrink them so you can fit more in the same space. You'll still overpack, but now it'll look organized when you do. Next, invest in a good backpack. Nomadic and Osprey are good choices. Both open like suitcases, fit in overhead bins, and have more secret compartments than a magician's hat. Power is life on the road, so I always carry an Anchor power bank and a universal adapter like the 12 South Plug Bug or Epica World adapter. You can charge everything, laptop, phone, camera, no matter what outlet the country uses. And if you film or work remotely, consider a small tech pouch to organize cables, SD cards, and adapters. I've lost more cords than I care to admit, and having them all in one zip-up bag saves hours of rummaging through your backpack like a raccoon in a dumpster. Here's the rule I travel by. If it doesn't make your life easier, lighter, or more organized, it doesn't come with you. Because the lighter your bag, the lighter your stress. And that's the real luxury upgrade. Sometimes the hardest part of travel isn't getting there, it's deciding where to go next. There's a whole world out there, and yet somehow we all end up Googling best places to visit this year, like it's going to hand us a calling. So here's how I actually find my next destination. Not from listicles, but from curiosity. First, Atlas Obscura. It's like Wikipedia for the weird and wonderful. You'll find things like a hidden monastery carved into a cliff or a museum dedicated entirely to bad art. It's one of my favorite ways to find places that aren't on Instagram yet, or at least not on your feed. Then there's road trippers. If you're planning any kind of road trip in the US or abroad, it's a must. You can map out your route, find cool detours, scenic stops, coffee shops, even quirky roadside attractions along the way. It turns the getting there part into half the adventure. Momondo and Skyscanner also have a search everywhere option where you put in the airport you want to fly from, and it will show you some of the lowest cost destinations around the world from that airport. I've even heard of people using Pinterest. I know, sounds basic. They'll type in coastal towns, Italy, or hidden waterfalls, Portugal, and suddenly you've got an entire mood board of ideas. And for planning what to do once I'm there, I live inside Google Maps saved lists. Whenever I see a cafe, restaurant, or place mentioned in a YouTube video or article, I save it to a list for that country or city. So when I arrive, I already have a personal map of everywhere I actually want to go, not just tourist traps. If you like discovering local gems on the go, Culture Trip and Like a Local are also fantastic. Short articles and guides written by people who actually live there. So yeah, skip the algorithmic top 10 list. Follow your curiosity. Find the stuff that doesn't make postcards. It's always the best part of the trip. And if you find a museum dedicated to bad art, go. That's the content the internet needs. So there you go, my travel toolkit, the apps, hacks, and little secrets that make traveling not just cheaper, but smarter. Because travel isn't about where you go, it's about how you go. And once you learn to use the right tools, everything opens up. Flights get cheaper, planning gets easier, and suddenly the world feels a lot smaller in the best possible way. And the links I mentioned are in the description. No sponsors, no fluff, just what I actually use. If you want to go deeper, subscribe to the Passport newsletter. It's completely free, and every month I publish a full digital magazine with destination guides, travel stories, gear reviews, and the kind of hidden gem recommendations that make every trip feel personal. Because the more you know before you go, the more freedom you have when you get there. I'm Matt Griffith, and this is Places to Go. Explore often, travel smart, and remember, the world doesn't get smaller by staying at home. Until next time, take care.